Now, after a failed liftoff earlier this week, NASA officials say they will make a second launch attempt of Artemis 1 this Saturday.
Yeah, it's hoped that this unmanned test flight will orbit the moon, bringing the USA closer to putting actual humans onto the lunar surface for the first time in 50 years.
I'm delighted to say that research scientist Dr. Ken Kremer joins us now. Morning, Dr. Kremer. Good to see you again. Well, here we are.
Good morning. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, we said we'd get you back on the programme, and we now have a reason because we know it's going to happen this weekend, isn't it? How confident are you that it will go ahead this time?
Well, they'll go ahead with a launch attempt. Whether it actually launches or not, that's another question. There can always be new problems. But yeah, they wanted to take a little bit more time to analyze the situation, which is pretty much what I thought would happen. So they're going to try on Saturday instead of Friday, and look at that engine in more detail. They've modified the procedure a little bit. They're going to do a little bit of work for the hydrogen leak, and then we'll see where we go. We're going to get an update, another one on Thursday, so about a day and a half from now, and then we'll have a clearer idea. The intention is to go Saturday, but that could always change. There are more days in the window they could launch. And the other thing to do is talk about the weather, like you guys were just talking about. The weather is really not looking good at all. 60% no-go at this point.
Just explain the weather to us a bit, Ken, because it seems extraordinary to me that you can have all this technology, the size of this thing, and yet that weather can impact on whether it takes off or not. What is it about the weather that makes a difference?
Well, I'm not a weather expert, but I'll tell you this is the lightning capital of the world. This is probably like the last place they should have built a launch pad, but it's a really good place because it extends out into the Atlantic and it's away from populated areas. So this is just a very unsettled season right now. It's actually the hurricane season. We're in the middle of hurricane season. So that's why the weather is really an issue. But before this, the weather was pretty settled, but now we're in a couple-week period where it's pretty unsettled. It would have been nice if Saturday was a little bit better than Friday, but they're both 60% no-go. Now, the good thing is we have a 2-hour launch window. So what they're hoping is that at some point during the 2 hours, it'll be really good. It turns out that yesterday the weather was pretty much no-go almost the entire period. So even if the rocket had been in great shape yesterday, it's unlikely we would have gone because of the weather.
And Ken, one of the other things that I know they have to pay close attention to is basically the orbit of the planets. They have to be in exactly the right moment. How does that work?
Well, the moon and the Earth have to line up just right, and that period of allowance that ends on September 6th, so next week sometime. That's why they can't launch until they have to launch up to September 6th and not afterwards. Then those alignments are not correct, and so for about 2 weeks, so they'd have to wait till September 19th. But that isn't going to happen because there's something called the flight termination system, the batteries. In case the rocket was to blow up, in case the rocket was to blow up, they would have to be able to in case the rocket was to go off course, they would have to blow it up. And the batteries are only certified for 25 days from the day they roll it out from the VAB. That ends on also September 6th. So in that case, they have to roll it back, recertify the batteries. That takes about 6 weeks. So after this, the next launch period is really not until mid to late October.
Ken, it's been great having another chat with you. Another excuse to keep you up, I'm sorry, into the middle of the night, your time. Is that another one of your wife's shirt creations? It's brilliant.
Actually, it's a different one. It has the International Space Station, where we have astronauts, including British astronauts flying there and European astronauts flying there. So, yeah. And in my pictures, they're available. You can follow me on Facebook and Twitter if anybody wants to support us. And my website is Space UpClose. It's a news website. Covering all things about space and astronomy. So thank you.
OK, thank you, Ken. If we come to you next week, have you got more shirts you can show us?
I have about 10 different shirts.
Great.
Brilliant.
Yeah, really. I have a whole bunch.
OK, well, that's good. If we get any more cancellations, we can keep coming back to you and you can keep showing us new shirts. That's great.
Well, Ken. that was my point, was to show you a different shirt. Exactly.
OK, thank you very much indeed.
It's a great shirt as well. I love it.
Should I get one?
Yeah, do.
On his website.
Do.
Available now.
Wonder what the boss will say.
Yeah.
I don't think you'd be allowed.
You're right. Time now to get